Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about TV, movies, and online content and help you answer the question, whatever happened to that ranger on that planet in The Mandalorian, who was friends with the Mandalorian? I can't remember. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I think they moved to a planet called Dune. Got eaten by a giant space worm.
One can only hope.
One can only hope. Also joining us today, Ciaran Marchant.
It's I've returned, back with all the anime goodness that this show has been missing out on.
Whoa, spoilers. But what's ahead? Alright, today we'll be talking about what's history. We'll get covering some news, not all the news. There's too much. And we'll be talking about this week's top 3. But let's kick things off. Dylan, you watched the new Denzel Washington film, The Little Things.
I did. I reviewed it for this website, explosionnetwork.com. I gave it a 4 out of 10. So I did not like it very much. It feels super dated, and that's because it is. It was actually a script that was written like 30 years ago. I mean, the core setup for the movie is sort of atypical serial killer / thriller type stuff you've seen before, where you've got this grizzled older veteran cop, Denzel Washington, who comes back to his city where years ago he was involved in a case and it went cold and he couldn't find the killer. And then you've got a younger, keener cop there, played by Rami Malek, and they can't figure out who's killing all these girls, and they get their eye on Jared Leto's character, and they're 100% sure it's Jared Leto's character, but they can't figure out how to actually prove it, and the cops end up pushing some boundaries and making some decisions that, cops aren't supposed to do, and, that's basically the movie. Rami Malek is, I think I wrote my review, he's like half asleep for the movie, I feel, or he's horribly miscast, or both. I hated him in this role. I thought it was kind of terrible. There's a scene he has with his family where his family are like, talking to him, his daughter runs up, gives Rami Malek's character a kiss, and I'm like, he just looks like the most uncomfortable person in his own home, and I'm like, you're the killer, maybe. I was like, at that stage, I was like, maybe you're the killer, but what the hell are we going on with here? Jared Leto has got nominated for a
Golden Globe.
What was it? Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor, and I don't know, at this stage, for stuff that's released in 2021, for me, obviously it's a very short list, so I'm like, sure. I think he's fine. It's literally just Jared Leto doing creepy Jared Leto, which isn't anything kind of boundary pushing for him. But I had a lot of issues with his character that took me out of the movie, because his character wears the same fucking costume for the entirety of the movie, and it was giving me the shits. They first meet his character when he's at work, and he works in a repair shop, repair your fucking fucking washing machine here or something like that. And he's got, overalls and stuff on. And the cops are watching him when he gets home. He's still got his work uniform on. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Next day, Jared Leto's character's day off work, still wearing the work overalls. It's the only thing he wears for that entire movie, and it was doing my goddamn head in.
You like
by the end of the movie, I don't know. By the end of the movie, I was like, okay, we're moving some interesting directions, some cool character stuff is happening, and then the credits started rolling. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I found it pretty boring, pretty predictable. As I said, Rami Malek was just really hard to watch. There's also, I forgot to mention, I was saying in my review, the editing was shit. The editing was noticeably bad, Bohemian Rhapsody bad, and I don't know how that got nominated for an Oscar as well. Shout out to that movie. But there's a scene early in the movie, for example, and it does this a couple times. There's a scene where Denzel Washington's character bends down and he pets a dog, and he stands up and he has to walk about 10 steps to get to his car, and it cuts about 6 times in the time it takes to walk through his door. I felt like I was watching fucking WWE or some shit. It was like bam, 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 bam. I'm like, he's just walking. He's literally just walking to his door. I don't know why they're like, we shot all this coverage, so we better use it. So no, I don't think it's a particularly enjoyable movie. It's very dated. It's like, if you're down for this sort of genre stuff, go watch True Detective, go watch Mindhunters. They're doing it a lot better. No, 4 out of 10.
Cool. All right, good to know to not go see that at the cinema. So I went and saw Minari, obviously, a film that's been getting a lot of buzz. People talking about it as one of the best films up for the Academy Awards this year. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, starring Stephen Yeun, Han Yi-ri, Alan Kim, Noel Kate Cho, Yoo-jung, and Will Patton. Tells the story of a family who moved from California out to Arkansas, so they can start a farm. Well, at least the father, he wants to start a farm out in Arkansas, growing Korean vegetables is his plan, because he'll be the only one making Korean vegetables. And there's 15,000 Koreans immigrating to America every year, so that's like a whole market of people to sell these vegetables to. So solid plan.
Smart.
It's smart. Except he's not really a farmer. He's actually it's an interesting line of work they're in. They're both he and his wife are both they eat sex chickens. So what they do is they check chickens to see if they're a boy or a girl, because obviously the boy chickens are not useful for the company. So they get
For the company.
For they can't lay eggs.
The
and
farmers or the chicken
the chicken
breeders.
The chicken.
The roosters.
Yeah. The people who obviously want the chickens for laying eggs and for
the people who make the pie factory in Chicken Run.
I don't know. Is it farmers? I guess it's technically farmers for the...
It's farmers. It's a different kind of farmers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chicken farmers.
That was a long way
Did
to
you
come
never
back
see
to what we're
Old
talking
MacDonald had a farm and ever get to chickens?
No. It's just pigs and horses. But yeah, obviously he and his wife are having marital issues. She doesn't enjoy being in Arkansas, and I think they've obviously made it's implied they made a big move to try and save the marriage and that kind of thing. And their son, played by Will, what was his name again? Alan Kim, who you probably see in all the promotional stuff because he's adorable.
He's very cute kid in all the trailers, yes.
He's got like a heart condition which they're concerned about and that kind of thing, and the mother's obviously very concerned that they now live an hour away from a hospital and that kind of thing. It's very much a slice of life kind of film. There isn't some massive plot. It's just very much
Ciaran wants to watch it. Ciaran's all about this.
Yeah, he'll love it. It's very much like watching them go along. Eventually, her mother moves over and starts living with them, continuing the trend of awesome Asian grandmothers that started in The Farewell.
I saw someone tweet the connection about The Farewell for this. So yeah.
It's I think I love the grandmother in The Farewell a little bit more, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
That's fair. There's little moments in this that feel very reminiscent of My Family and that kind of thing. She brings over, stows away certain things from overseas, like spices and that kind of thing. Brings that over, and the mother starts crying because she can't get really good chili powder over in America yet, and that kind of thing. So yeah, a really touching film. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but I don't think it was meant to. It was just meant to be this really really sweet, nice, slice of life kind of look at this Korean family. I think it's also interesting that, especially from the trailer, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but there's little to no racism in this film, which I found interesting.
Why should there be racism?
Well, I'll say in the trailer, there's a shed on fire. And they're a Korean family in this new town that's mostly white people. So my mind almost filled in the gaps prior to seeing the film. Oh, they set their farm on fire. Because
they set their film on fire. They
set the farm on fire because they're racist.
That's an understandable...
Maybe that's a completely me thing, expecting it to go that direction.
I didn't get that, but I can understand how that's a acceptable
line
way
of thinking,
for your brain line of thinking.
I was really happy with that, and I've read the little kid. He's just adorable, and he does. He's a mischief maker. There's a scene.
I've seen a lot of videos with him in promotional material, and he's just apparently as adorable in real life.
He's the new kid from Jojo Rabbit,
Mm.
Yeah.
Wish I could watch it. Sounds great.
Yeah. So
My question is, I usually wouldn't ask these questions, but of course it lays to relate it to the Oscars. But how much of it is in English? I'm only asking that because of the whole Academy Awards, like, oh, it's an international film bullshit.
I would say it's probably like 50-50.
Yeah, so
obviously,
at that point, what the fuck are they on about?
I think the Golden Globes are, obviously the conversations between the mother and the father, all in Korean. The conversations between the mother and, well, the grandmother, the father and the mother are all Korean. The person they work with at the sexing farm also speaks in Korean, but other than that, everybody else speaks English. Will Patton obviously speaks English. He's an interesting cat in this film. Very interesting. Very, odd character.
Is this
and obviously
Stephen Young's breakout
don't
film,
know.
by the way?
Steve,
I don't... because everyone knows him from Walking Dead, obviously, and that's like kind of his...
I mean, I don't think he will be. I think he gives an excellent performance. I don't think it's like a breakout performance. Obviously, I feel like people in the film circles probably were more impressed he caught interest in his performance in Burning like a couple of years back. That was a South Korean film.
Watched it.
Yeah, still haven't watched it either. But yeah, I think he's been a good actor for a while, and obviously this one's getting more buzz than other projects he's been in. But yeah,
because I really liked him in Okja, whatever it was called.
Okja, yeah,
but yeah,
he's playing Invincible in the animated series. So yeah, everything's coming good. So yeah, hopefully you get to watch Minari sometime soon.
It'll be this year at least. If I have to wait for the fucking DVD release. So.
Yeah. Also, Minari is actually like a herb.
I saw a video on Twitter where they were explaining how to pronounce Minari or Minari. They were going like the proper pronunciation, and then they were explaining that it's actually a herb or what kind of herb it is. So informative Twitter video they posted.
Very good.
Yeah.
You checked out a film Nick was excited to see, Synchronic.
That was a fucking.
That was wow. Okay, we went.
Chuck out Cherie's name and you fucking got the entire explosion.
His his brain was playing Guess Who with the sentence.
You literally were one person off. That's great. So what movie? Synchronic, right? So Synchronic. Yeah. So Nick did go watch this, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't know if I think he liked it a little bit more than me, around the same. When I looked at his train cracking. But yeah, he wanted to watch this because it's from the same directors that directed that Spring you talked about a couple of weeks ago. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, that's them. So it stars Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan as two New Orleans paramedics. And it's a very dark, weird movie. It has like that whole thing where it's very obviously trying to keep you in this whole like dark atmosphere the entire time, like weird camera angles, fucking spooky sounds, whatever. And the movie starts where they show up at a house. They're like, what's happened? Someone's been stabbed. They walk inside the house. It's very gloomy. Someone's fucking on the floor. They've got a pirate sword through them or something. And they're like, that's a bit weird. Like how does a pirate sword from 1800s, 1700s, whenever get into this fucking crack house? Anyway, they're like, that's a bit weird. They notice some like drug packaging they've never seen before. No worries, move on with life. They show up at they get called out to something else. The next day, again, a woman in like the 25th floor of a hotel room has got bitten by a snake, and they can't find the snake anywhere. And they also can't find, she keeps saying what kind of snake it was, like describing the colors. And they're like, it can't be that snake because that's like a snake from the 1900s or something that hasn't been around for a long time. So it can't have been that. So they're like, this is all a bit weird. Again, they find the same drug packaging. Long story short is the movie ends up being about a new drug that's hit the streets that everyone's taking because it transports you through time. Now, there are rules, again, to how this film's time travel works and this sort of thing. And I don't want to spoil too much in case people want to watch it, but Anthony Mackie's character is the one who begins exploring the time travel stuff. And it takes like an hour to get there. And that's kind of one of my biggest hangups with this movie is the movie spends a very long time before getting to the more interesting stuff, which in my opinion is the time travel stuff. And I thought the way they go about explaining how time travel works in this movie, like where it takes you, how you get back. It has like time limits, like where you have to be to time travel back, forward, all this sort of stuff. So it was thought out enough that I kind of enjoyed it. And he starts exploring that because Jamie Dornan's daughter takes the drug and she disappears. And of course, he's like, I don't know where she is. And then Anthony Mackie's like, I think I can figure this shit out. So then he has to try and find a way to travel to where she is and solve what's going on. But it's a very moody, very dark film. It's not really a horror movie. It's like a sci-fi thriller, I guess, something like that. I personally didn't really like Anthony Mackie in this movie. I felt like I don't know, like it didn't really bring enough to that character. I just couldn't get fully invested in him in that role. I felt like he was a little bit miscast. Jamie Dornan is fine. Like, he's very much the co-star, not the lead. But other than that, yeah, it has a cool concept with the time travel stuff. It just doesn't quite pull it together. I think I gave it like a 6 or something like that on Trakt. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So thanks to Sony Pictures, I got to see The Truffle Hunters, a new documentary set in Italy, in which it follows a group of aging men hunting for truffles. Yeah. Do you guys know much about truffles?
Only what Top Gear showed me.
What was that?
That they use pigs to hunt for truffles, because pigs are good at hunting truffles.
They can, but in this case, they use dogs to hunt for truffles in this film.
Pigs are way cooler.
Not quite.
No, I don't know. I know nothing about truffles, so...
Yeah, so if you're wanting to find out more about truffles, this really isn't the film for you, because it's more focused on the actual act of finding the truffles, or the people. It's more focused on the people who do this job, in which the truffles, they just grow on the ground. Like, they're a type of fungus. No, they grow... Hang on, let me just... It's a fruiting body of a subterranean asymmetry fungus. So they grow on the ground. The dogs or pigs can be trained to find the scents. And then, they dig up the truffles. And then, if they're really... Truffles only last a couple of weeks before they go... They past their use-by date or whatever, but they can sell for thousands of dollars.
Why?
Because they're just... One, they're rare. Two, apparently...
What do you do with them, though? Like, what's the...
They put it on, food.
Okay.
Yeah.
I literally know nothing about this. So.
Yes. So, again, I knew nothing about truffles. I went into the film thinking, they'll kind of explain it or something. Not really. It's not a Vox Pop kind of documentary where they talk to, there's like an interviewer or they're talking to the camera about their subject matter. It's very much trying to be like a fly on the wall kind of documentary, where they just kind of, it feels like you just happen to be sitting at the end of the table while people have conversations, which kind of, it's good. I think that obviously the people they found to be in the film are really endearing and really sweet. They're all obviously people in their 80s and 90s, who have been doing truffle hunting for almost their entire lives. Particularly this guy called Carlos, who is still trying to go truffle hunting at night when he shouldn't. And his wife is constantly upset with him for going truffle hunting, in case he falls and gets injured in the middle of the night. But yeah, there's an element of it that feels very staged because of where the camera placement is. I mean, slight spoilers, but there's a scene where the camera's set up outside a window, and Carlos comes out and tries to sneak out the window. But that feels very staged. There's another segment where there's this other older truffle hunter who decides he's quitting truffle hunting. He doesn't want to do it anymore. Because obviously they're of this old guard of people who did things a certain way and were respectful of people's property. And now there's just these random people who go truffle hunting.
New age
wherever they want. They'll go trampling through somebody's property, digging in their backyard or whatever, ruining stuff. And yeah, he's decided to quit, so he goes to this typewriter and starts typing up his letter as to what to explain to his friends why he's not truffle hunting anymore. That kind of feels staged because the camera's in the perfect spot to frame him up. And a lot of the cinematography is very much one still shot, framed perfectly, and then the action happens in front of it. Although there is 2 segments where they use dog cam where pretty much they just stick a GoPro on one of the dogs and let him run around the forest, which was
Just
a hard
cool.
watch.
Why?
It like
So fast?
motion sequence. Yeah, can you imagine a dog
I have. I've
up
put a
and down?
GoPro on my. I've put a GoPro on my dog before. So yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of motion sickness during that, but yeah, it's just, and then obviously these truffle hunt, they get like 3 or 4 truffles. They get maybe, I think they said like 500 euros for like
they're
300
expensive.
grams or something, and then they go and sell those truffles for like thousands of dollars. They're like all these old gentlemen who was like kind of living a simple life is juxtaposed with this these people setting up for this big auction of certain truffles in this auditorium, and this guy smelling truffles and talking to presidents and that kind of thing. So there's a bit of humor in the absurdity of the distinction between the two ends of this, this industry. But yeah, I think it's quite an interesting look at these people, and the love they have for dogs. I mean, if you're a dog lover, I think this is a good film to watch. Mostly, there is one incident in the film that's kind of disheartening and that kind of thing. But it's an interesting documentary. It it kind of felt staged. The other thing that really annoyed me, they don't name anybody. So I know Carlos because his wife screams out, "Carlos, Carlos, come home," but like they don't have like a bottom third telling you who each of the people they're following are. Just like
IMDb,
no,
Wikipedia.
no, nowhere. They didn't provide any material so I can know who's
Maybe
who.
that's I'd like to know if that was a choice of the producers, or if that was of the people asked for that to be the case.
That could, but I mean, you're looking at them and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So, Truffle Hunters, definitely one to check out in cinemas. If you love dogs, if you're interested in truffle hunters, I guess. But yeah, it's not super informative about the actual truffles, or what they taste like, or apparently they smell good. I don't know. Yeah. I know no extra things about truffles now than I did going into the film, so that was kind of a drawback for me. Dylan, then you watched Clarice, the new series on Stan, starring Australia's Rebecca Breeds. It's a follow-up to Silence of the Lambs, technically, right?
Yeah, so this takes place roughly a year after Silence of the Lambs. Clarice Starling is dealing with the trauma that she sustained in that film. And I watched the first episode and I'm out. I'm not watching anymore. I thought it was pretty crap, to be honest. So that's my mini review. Basically, this series is literally Criminal Minds with a Clarice Starling / Silence of the Lambs, whatever you want to call it. Thomas Harris, I think is the author's name. Like skin over the top of a Criminal Minds type show. It is just going to be Killer of the Week, Monster of the Week, and then she's going to be solving it, and it's going to be like little slow character building moments, but not enough to keep people who actually, you want an actual story happening entertained. I hated all of the side characters. A lot of it just seemed ridiculous. Like she literally stopped one of the biggest serial killers, like this huge case, Buffalo Bill, stops him. And then she gets sent over to this other part of the country or whatever to help out with this case in the first episode. And as soon as she gets there, like the big FBI boss dude's like, "Oh, we do things by the books here." You can just tell what kind of stupid character he's going to be. She's fine. She does like a good job at mimicking what's the fuck's accent. Jeez, I meant to blanking on her name. Yeah, that one. Jesus Christ.
Jodie Foster?
It's hard. Jodie Foster. She does a good job at mimicking Jodie Foster's, whatever thick accent that is. Like I don't even know what her accent is in Silence of the Lambs. What
she
kind of
is.
place?
She's from like Tennessee or something like that. It's like
something like that.
Yeah, it's it's not quite Texas, but it's around there. Like Missouri maybe or something.
Yeah. So they have an Australian try and do that. Does a pretty good job. But no, I would not suggest watching this if you're a fan of good TV or Silence of the Lambs. So no, skip this one.
Okay. Then you watched Dark and the Wicked, currently on Shudder.
So this is very dark. Again, I'm gonna whole thing. This is a very dark, sinister horror movie. It's very much seems like it's trying to follow in the tones of like Ari Aster's, Hereditary or like a Lighthouse or something. I think they're the two, not the same director, but those sorts of tones that have kind of become popular in horror movies over the last few years. That sort of like always feeling this tension of dread and stuff in the background. But so the film opens, and the first like 15-20 minutes is probably my favorite part of the film. It's a very slow build. You see this old lady who they never name, they just call her the mother, even in the credits, and she's looking after the father who's in his bed dying. They never tell you what, it's not really important, but he's obviously dying of old age or sickness or something. And the mother's dealing with it. You can tell she's not coping too well, but the kids turn up the next morning. The daughter's played by Marin Ireland, who's quite good, and the brother's played by Michael Abbott Jr., who plays Michael. They turn up and they can tell something's wrong with their mother, and things are just getting a little bit weird. The goats are acting a little bit crazy outside. They're in a secluded sort of farm somewhere. I'm sure there's chickens there as well, because that's what farmers have on farms. And then something goes wrong. I won't say really what goes wrong. And then from there, the movie sort of turns into a more atypical horror movie where it's like there's spooky demons involved here and some crazy shit's about to go down. And, some crazy shit does go down, but it's all sort of tied back to this theme of it's all tied to the theme of loss and dealing with a loved one, be that your parent or something like that. And it does do a little bit of playing of what's real, what's not real, kind of like, is this what's really happening in this? The director, Brian Bertino, is the one who he's most known for being the writer and director of The Strangers. So he's pretty good at doing tension building throughout movies, and he does a good job here. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 7.5 if you want to read my full review, explosionhope.com.
Pretty good. Change of tone, I checked out the Disney Plus original film.
That is a change of tone. Jesus.
Flora and Ulysses, which tells the story of a young girl who's he calls herself a cynic, who's kind of dealing with her parents kind of being separated, and kind of their family dynamic being broken. Comes across this squirrel who's accidentally gets sucked up by a smart vacuum, and subsequently, because of that trauma, gets superpowers.
This is not Squirrel Girl, by the way.
No, this is not Squirrel Girl. This I know it's Disney, but yeah, it's based on a children's book. This little squirrel gets superpowers. He can and understands what she's saying and types poetry on her mother's typewriter. This is a really charming family film. I really liked the two kids. One, Matilda Lawler, who plays Flora, and then also Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who plays William, the boy who's staying over the summer break next door, who's got hysterical blindness. And
what? What is hysterical blindness?
It's like he's gone through some sort of traumatic thing that caused him to go blind.
Like blind forever? It's just until
maybe
he deals with his. Okay, that's hardcore.
But then, yeah, he's pretty much acts like Daredevil the entire. He's like,
okay,
my other senses have been enhanced.
Heightened. Okay.
Yeah, no, at least he pretends. Let me smell where things are coming from. Can I touch your face so I know what your face looks like and that kind of stuff? So there's a few good gags in there. Ben Schwartz plays her father, who's like a struggling comic book artist and writer. His mother is played by Alison Hannigan, who plays like a romance novelist who's kind of struggling to write after,
They're all struggling.
She's like very successful, but obviously after the separation, she's like struggling to write romance fiction, and the squirrel comes along and kind of shakes up the family dynamic and everything. And then you've got Danny Pudi as like the bad guy, the animal control officer, who's decided clearly this squirrel has rabies and needs to be captured. Really fun, enjoyable film. Gets you with a special emotional wallop right towards the end. I really enjoyed it. I think it's pretty good. So definitely check that out over on Disney+.
I do want to watch this. I remember watching a trailer like a month ago or something like that randomly because I hadn't even heard of it until it popped up in the like, oh, what's coming soon in February, Disney Plus stuff. And I watched the trailer. I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty fucking good. And I hadn't even heard of it. Like I hadn't seen anyone post anything about it. So yeah. Yeah,
pretty great. All right, Dylan, you checked out McMillions, the documentary about the McDonald's monopoly scam.
Yeah, so I think this is gonna get nominees for all the sort of like documentary stuff.
It'll be an Emmy thing, yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty interesting. In case anyone doesn't know, in the early 2000s, there was this whole thing where the FBI proved that someone somehow was manipulating the McDonald's Monopoly game at the time and literally fixing it so they could give the tickets and the winning $1 million tickets to anyone they wanted. And I think, so I already knew that, and I'm coming into this and I'm going, I've never actually known how they did it. And they saved that to the last episode, which is the most annoying thing, because the entire show I'm like, but how? Like, how are they doing it? Because they explain how impossible it would be, like in the first or second episode. They're like, they literally say that the guy, someone with a briefcase that has 2 PIN codes that 2 different people have to remember, like they're not one person. They fly across the different like places, warehouses or whatever, where they're printing them in McDonald's cups and stuff like that. And then they would walk in, security would watch them, they would walk around, and someone would randomly place these winning tokens on drinks and stuff. Like, it wasn't a machine that was randomly doing it. It was a special person doing it and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, how do you like, how do you figure this out? But the thing that makes this show even more interesting is when they're like, okay, the first episode, they have one of the guys, FBI guys in particular, is really fun to listen to in documentary. Like, he seems like, they keep saying how he was like, he's the FBI agent who literally goes, we can go undercover and try and solve this. And the rest of the FBI is like, you can't do that and go undercover. Like, he's the very much like just idea first sort of gun-ho FBI agent. And even hear him talk in the interview, the way he like sort of laughs at all these ideas and the ideas he'd throw out, the rest of the FBI people would be like, you can't do that. And he'd be like, it's all right, guys. Well, all this sort of stuff. So he's quite fun in this. So they explain how they went through it, how they first heard about the McDonald's case, how they contact McDonald's. They go through it step by step, how they start like going undercover to talk to the people who have previously won and finding out who they're connected to and how this whole scheme's happening. And it's really in depth. It ends up involving the mob. It's crazy. It's a really interesting documentary. I would suggest watching it. I watched it in like 2 or 3 days or whatever, and it was really, really good.
From previously working at McDonald's, Monopoly is always a scam. The weirdest one for Monopoly is it's always a scam. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, that like some like the most valuable like codes don't get released until like later batches, until the very end and stuff like that. The other one that gets me is
I feel like those things are very heavily regulated.
No, because there's tickets you won't see until later boxes. It'll wait. And then the other one is, I don't know if this is a wide known rule about Monopoly, but if you are an employee of McDonald's or you're related to an employee of McDonald's, you can't win. You can't enter.
No. You have to give them all to a friend.
So that must like cut down the kind of opportunity for winning significantly.
Yeah, because the people who because all the people who work at McDonald's and get using all the cups and everything for their own stuff, just chuck it away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some McDonald's stores used to have to like use a different cup and stuff. There was sometimes, but
interesting.
Yeah, there'd be like, you can't have different chip packets and stuff like that, or different burger boxes. Like, it's very strange.
Well, the weirdest thing I found about this is when the FBI starts investigating it, and they literally say towards the end of the show, they're like, we never really clicked on to the fact that we had 4 or 5 winners in the exact same state that were all related. I'm like, how do you not realize that? Like,
they've all got different names.
Yeah, the guy that did it, he got away with it for 12 years. He was doing this.
Yeah. You would think, 11 years, 10 years, 10-year run. I'll quit.
It's actually kind of nuts. And the funniest thing is, by the end, they do kind of go into the conversation of, well, he was just stealing from McDonald's. Like, who'd this hurt really? And a lot of people talk about it and be like, well, it hurt a lot of people because
people were trying to win.
A lot of people, the people who were spending a lot of money trying to win, thinking that was like, they had a chance. There's a lot of interesting angles.
Yeah, absolutely. So I checked out the film from Amazon Studios, The Map of Tiny Perfect Things. It follows a boy named Mark who gets up in the morning, does all these cool things. Turns out he's in a time loop. It's one of those things.
Your best movie of 2021's years already, is it? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I really enjoyed this. So he's kind of obvious at the start of the film. He's obviously been in the time loop for a while. He's figured out kind of the perfect way to get
Palm Springs. What are you talking about? You're literally describing the plot for Palm Springs.
Yeah, a little bit. He's been in the time loop for a while. He's learnt the perfect way to, he knows exactly when he goes past on his bike, when the sprinklers are going to come on, when to stop someone from texting on their phone. He meets this girl and knows exactly where she wants to go before she says anything. Gives her the perfect directions to the place she wants to go. He says, I'm a psychic, and that kind of jokes around and that kind of thing. He does some bizarre stuff as well, where he likes to steal construction vehicles and drive them around, and that kind of thing. But then he always ends up at the pool to catch this girl before she gets knocked into the pool by a beach ball, and then tries to talk to her and get her, to get a date or whatever, constantly failing. Then one day, he every day constantly getting hit with the beach ball, and then one day this girl walks past and catches a beach ball as it's going past. So it turns out there's another person in the time loop as well. He didn't bring her into the time loop though, so I mean there's a slight distinction. But yeah, it definitely echoes of Palm Springs. I think this is more of a teen drama. It's got more of a focus on it. This one has more of a focus on the little things that we probably don't notice and that kind of thing. His idea to get her to stick around and not leave him hang out with him more is to show her little perfect moments of little things that you probably wouldn't notice. This guy sits on a bench at a certain time and a dry cleaning van comes across and it looks like he's got angel wings behind him at a certain time. At the same time every single day, this eagle comes down to this lake and catches this fish and flies off. He knows the exact time to stop somebody so bird poop doesn't drop on them and that kind of thing. So it's all these little perfect moments that they're trying to collect. So they know they can find all the perfect moments and to share with each other and that kind of thing. And it's very much like a teen drama romance film. I feel like the twists and turns and that kind of thing I enjoyed. But yeah, I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for that kind of film.
You really fucking are, aren't you?
Yeah.
You really are. I could write.
I will say the girl Margaret is played by Catherine Newton, who really impressive in this. But yeah, Kyle Allen plays the lead Mark. I haven't seen him in much, but yeah, he's really good as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. You should check it out if you like Palm Springs. This is kind of a nice companion piece. It definitely doesn't. It's definitely not a comedy like Palm Springs is. So there is a bit of distinction. So if you aren't sick of time loop movies yet, you can check this one out.
If you haven't seen Tenet yet, or Palm Springs, or
Tenet's not a time loop movie, in my opinion. So many other time loop movies you could have listed.
I'll have to watch it because you'll be nominating it for best movie of 2021. So I might as well get ahead the game.
Well, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll see. All right, Dylan. You can take a break. I know that you can take a drink of water. You can go to the bathroom because Ciaran, we're going to be talking about some anime.
Woo! Anime!
Alright, so Ciaran, what have you been watching?
You know what? Currently, anime is having, I think, a great season. Maybe my favorite seasons in a while now. Currently, I'm actually watching 10 different weekly anime series on my current rotation.
It's a lot.
So to quickly run down the list, I did tweet out about this a couple weeks ago. Currently, of course, Attack on Titan. If people aren't watching Attack on Titan, Dylan, Attack on Titan is a modern-day classic in terms of anime. It is absolutely fantastic. I am absolutely in love with it. I think it's a great series. Season 4 Mappa is doing a fantastic job. It's a shame that anime fans are so shit and are giving Mappa like creators and designers flack for different choices that have been made so far, but like as in like just little stupid things like what OST was playing during a fight scene, like just fucking dumb. But it was the wrong music. Fantastic. It is 11 episodes in so far for season 4. There are, I think, prior to that 62 episodes, so of course catching up will take a little bit, but I think it's absolutely fantastic and anime fans definitely need to jump in.
How many episodes left?
I don't know off the top of my head. Normally they do 24 episode seasons, so there should be another 15-ish episodes. This is season 4 is the final season of Attack on Titan, so everything has to wrap up, so there's a good chance it runs longer, but I'm excited to see that play out. Probably the longest ongoing like week-to-week anime I watch personally is Black Clover, which is still running. Episode 164 currently. Just aired last week. 165 will be out right now by the time you're listening to this. Absolutely fantastic. People give Black Clover so much crap because of the start is a little bit scratchy, but where it's currently up to is absolutely amazing, and the past 3-4 arcs have been fantastic, so jump in. Dr. Stone is out currently for season 2. Are you up to date on Dr. Stone?
I'm not up to date. I think I watched the first 2-3 episodes.
It is
3 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, so Stone Wars have begun, and it is just Dr. Stone all over. If you are a fan of science, this anime is fantastic, all about the world has kind of returned back to a stone age. All technology had been forgotten, and then it's all about one scientist and how he is returning science back to the world and just the different ways. And apparently all the science in the anime is realistic. If you were to do the science, there is even like making bombs, which they give you a warning of, please don't actually try this. It's all correct science and accurate science to follow through, which I think is really interesting throughout the anime. And on top of that, it is a great shonen anime in general. Probably the biggest anime going currently is Jujutsu Kaisen. It is strongly going through at this period of time. It's been going through since last season, so lots of people have been talking about it. It goes from strength to strength. Last episode was absolutely some of the best art or fight choreography that has been in the show so far, and it's already been fantastic. It's another Mappa produced show, I believe, off the top of my head. They're just kind of smashing it right now with everything with that, and coming off the heels of why is that? God of High School, of course. I think going on to some newer stuff. Yes, ReZero is still going on, second part of season 2 for ReZero. Another anime that people need to watch because it's fantastic. Did you just shake your head that I just said the second part? No,
I just saw something on Twitter. It's fine.
Sorry. Oh, okay, that's fine. ReZero is already another classic that many people who enjoy anime have watched. So if you haven't already, I do recommend it. It is a good isekai, which is normally terrible. So anime where the main character gets transported to another world. After Sword Art Online, they're kind of like, there's a lot of them and they're generally kind of bad. But the kind of new and interesting, so Promise from Neverland Season 2 is absolutely fantastic as an anime. It is thrilling. When you start watching it, it is not what you expect. I think the art style is beautiful. The OST is beautiful. And I'm really enjoying the story of it. It follows children who are raised in an orphanage. That they find out that they're actually being raised as food for demons that actually rule the world.
As you do.
As you do. So, and they find out that they get shipped off at the age of 11. So it is really interesting to watch, and how that's unfolded with just the kind of younger protagonists is really interesting. 2.43 saying hi is another volleyball anime. Haikyuu has taken a break, so 2.43 is kicking. But not a straight-up anime, a volleyball anime like Haikyuu. Like, the volleyball is more of a setting, and it's more about the character relationships and character interactions. It's actually quite dark in terms of themes when it comes to one of the main characters' kind of opening arcs is about him dealing with the fact that he push somebody to attempt suicide, and all of the kind of things that play around that. And I think it's a really good deep dive. It's very kind of, if Haikyuu is that over the top, heartwarming volleyball anime where you love to see the volleyball and watch, Seinhai is kind of the complete opposite, where the volleyball takes a back seat to the character growth and the more mature themes for their character arc. Finally, not just a volleyball anime, there is finally a skating anime, skateboarding even anime. Skate the Infinity has maybe my favorite opening song of everything, which, if you've ever heard me talk about anime, is kind of the most important part, is that the anime have a slapping opening theme. And Skate the Infinity definitely does. Skateboarding anime that is all about friendship. There is a really interesting underlying theme, considering where the director has previously done several shows that always have some kind of weird social twist to them. So people are trying to pick that out, and there's definitely a few clues in the opening theme. But as far as a skateboarding anime, which is, you know, crazy to think that it's taken this long to do skateboarding and to watch a skateboarding anime, it's done really well. You two are probably going to be super impressed with me, because this is as close to slice of life as I'm ever going to get watching a weekly anime. But Horimiya started to air. It's currently on episode 7, as most of the shows are on this list are, that have just started this season. Horimiya is a romantic comedy / slice of life show that kind of came out of nowhere, but it is like the 6th biggest manga of all time. And it is a great... it's a great rom-com. It's really fantastic. It's about two characters who are not seen as, you know, who lead very different lives compared to how they're seen at high school to what they are like kind of outside of high school. So, and how they come together and see kind of fall in love with together, which is really sweet. And then finally, another isekai, but probably the most highly anticipated isekai out of anywhere, is called Jobless Reincarnation. It is absolutely fantastic. It goes on the kind of the closer end of, like, closer to your, as close as anime can get to, like, R18 kind of themes, with a lot of kind of sexual themes, but also dealing with a lot of darker themes throughout it. It does isekai right. It gives characters time to grow. It's all about a 40-year-old shut-in who all of a sudden gets transported to another world and born as a child. And it's literally just about his life and growing up in this world filled with magic. And he is, of course, as all the kind of protagonists are, incredibly good at magic and excels in it and everywhere. It's about his journey in that. It is fantastic. Anything I've talked about mainly are either on Crunchyroll or Anime Lab for us here in Australia. Funimation everywhere else. But anime is pretty fucking cool. And people should watch more anime.
Yeah, like Dylan. You should watch some anime.
Watch some anime for once, you fuck.
But I just want to say, saying that more people should watch anime is a fucking ridiculous statement.
More people should watch anime, because lots of people already do, but I still think there should be more.
All of Japan watches anime.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, all Japanese people watch Japanese movies, but that doesn't mean more people shouldn't watch Japanese movies.
Let's not get started on the subtitle movies being
We'll get into that. But
Bullshit.
no, I was trying to tee you up because you watched some anime.
Oh, okay. You want to tee me up for that. See, I was trying to swerve. Yes, I have watched some anime. Welcome. I'm glad to be here on the
Can't believe you finally
podcast.
got around to watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah, after Ciaran gave me shit for so many weeks, so many times, I figured it was fine. No. I am binging currently, I guess, my way through Demon Slayer, whatever the full-length title of it is, in efforts of finishing it to watch the movie, which is titled Even Longer.
Demon Slayer Mugen Train.
Mugen Train. It's
There
not
you
even
go.
that long.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying it. It's very it's kind of weird, because I guess the setup for people who don't know it is it's like it's a world where there's demons all around, and demons can infect you like fucking zombies and turn you or some shit like that. So for the first few episodes, I was like, this is just zombies. Like, this is just a zombie show, but they're calling them demons. Like, for the first few episodes, if you change the word demon to zombie, the show wouldn't have changed. It would have been like, okay, it's just fucking zombies. But Anyway, the main character his whole family gets fucking slaughtered brutally. It's fucked up. His sister gets turned into a demon, and then he's out to trying to find a way to save her. The first couple episodes are kind of very stereotypical. You've seen it in a million animators before to a degree, and I was like, this is kind of meh, but everyone talks so highly of this as one of the best animes of the last year or whatever it was, or 2 years.
A couple years. It was like 2 years ago it came out.
Yeah. Everyone talks so highly about it, so I was like, we push through. It must be good. The movie's the highest grossing Japanese animation movie of all time, so surely the anime is good. And yeah, it does get a lot more better once you get it into like episode 5, 6, when he starts after going through nearly a year of training or something like that, and he's now a proper demon slayer, and he's now out in the world trying to both slay demons, because that's now he's part of the demon slaying group, whatever
Demon
they're actually
Slayers,
called.
yeah.
Slayers, yes.
Yeah.
And trying to find a way to properly heal his sister, who has, for reasons unknown, kind of like they've managed to lull away her need/want to eat humans, and instead she feeds off sleeping, which is a thing. But she still can't go out in daytime because demons are also vampires. Also, so, like there's a lot of like weird
mixing.
Mixing.
Vampires are crime type of demon.
Yeah, I guess that's the long thing. But yeah, it's beautiful animation and character designs and these sorts of things. I'm enjoying most of the monster design though. Like there's some really cool monster design and characters and weapon designs, I guess, as well. Throughout the use of this, that's probably my favorite thing so far. I am enjoying the characters. Whatever the boar person is quite amusing. What's that character's name?
Inosuke? Think?
Sounds something. That sounds about right. See, I can't remember any characters' names. That's my one big negative. But I am enjoying. I am enjoying it.
Yeah, Inosuke, Poggers. I'm great at this anime stuff.
You are. That's your job. So
yeah, that's what I do.
You better get that right. It's not Jeff Bridges, so.
Can name a bunch of Japanese characters with heavy Japanese names. Can't remember which
we don't
one
know who's in the Big Lebowski.
Can't remember who's in the Big Lebowski. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm keen to finish it up. I'll keep watching it, get it done before the weekend, and the day after this comes out, I'll hopefully be going to watch the highest grossing Japanese animated movie of all time. So
yeah.
You know
what's actually impressive about that is that obviously it was a movie from last year.
Yeah, the pandemic still grossed that much. So,
well, Japan got that shit covered though. Like Japan was closed for like a couple months tops, and then they were like, "Yeah, we're good."
Yeah, but they still don't want the
it kind of
Olympics
helps.
over there.
Kind of helps when you have a history of people wearing masks when they have a cold, compared to other countries where people are like, "Take away my freedoms." A
country that believes in their government and thinks they're doing things in their best interests. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure people that live in Japan have their own criticisms of how the government handle it, but from an outsider's perspective, it didn't look as bad as other places. So,
yeah. All right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. I watched the final film in the To All the Boys trilogy. To All the Boys.
I watched the second one.
Always
recently,
and Forever. Do you want to talk about the second film?
It was shit. So. I'm still going to watch the third one, but I thought that the second one was shit, to be honest. So, I think I gave it a 5 on Trakt. I thought it was it lost all of the charm. Literally everything that I loved so much about the first one. I've watched the first one twice. 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Great, fantastic rom-com. Or, teen rom-com. All this style, all the characters, great moments, fantastic soundtrack. Second one's just void. It was boring. Like it was just, I don't know. It was like paint by numbers nonsense. So
yeah, I was also let down by the second one. I don't think it was as good or creative as the first one. This one's is better than the second one, not as good as the first one. Pretty much follows Lana Condor and Noah Centinneo's characters, Lara Jean and Peter. In their final year of high school, they're planning what they're going to do for college. Peter's got a scholarship to go to Stanford, So Lara Jean is hoping she'll get into Stanford as well, and she doesn't. So, it's them kind of come to terms with
Credits.
Will this relationship last past high school? Which I guess is a very
age-old question.
An age-old question, very American question, especially when they go on a school trip to New York and, it's New York.
Is it please don't tell me there's another love triangle.
No, the third lover is New York. So.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, like,
I think that's what killed the second film for me. I feel like
stupid.
It's like, yeah, the love triangle thing kind of.
It was boring. It wasn't. Just didn't like it. Just didn't work.
Yeah. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I think there's some very cool sequences of obviously I think that was the first film that director who was previously cinematographer did. And I think he obviously learnt a fair bit from.
They shot these back to back though. So
yeah, they shot these back to back. I feel like, yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's very sweet. And it was a nice way to end the series. Also, the little sister is probably one of the better parts of the film.
Yeah. She was in the second one as well. So
yeah, Constantine's scene stealer. So really enjoyed that. Then Dylan, you checked out the Australian film 2067.
Oh yeah, this was pretty shit house. So time travel again. We're back, baby. I didn't realize until you just said that. I was like, wow, I've been watching a lot of time travel stuff at the moment. What's his name? I'm trying to look it up. So this film stars Cody Smith McPhee, that's him, and Ryan Quanten. Shout out to True Blood in case you haven't seen him around for a while. Australian dude. And it's set in Australia or something like that, kind of. It's like an alternate history, cyberpunky type thing, I guess, where it's all of the plants on Earth have died, so air doesn't exist anymore, and everyone has to breathe like fake oxygen to live. But then it's making the whole Earth sick, and people are slowly dying, but they have no choice but to breathe this fake oxygen anyway, or else they're gonna die. Anyway, the Earth's dying. One day, they get a call, Cody Smith McPhee's character and Ryan Quanten's character. They're like, come down to head office of the big corporation that makes the fake oxygen or whatever. And they're like, we've been fucking around with shit, science. We've been banging around here with nails and hammers. Anyway, we made this time travel machine. And this message came back through the time travel machine. And all the message said was, send Ethan, which is Cody Smith McPhee's character's name. So he's like, I don't want to do it. He goes home to his wife. I don't really want to do it. She's like, you should probably do it because she's sick. She's got the disease. So he's like, oh, no. Maybe I'll do it. Gets talked into it. Goes through it. Travels in time. Brian Quanten's character comes with him for reasons you'll see. And then the rest of the movie is them dealing with where they travel to, which is 400 years in the future. And why it's interesting is they travel 400 years in the future and it is covered in plants. So firstly, when they get there, they go, these are all dead in our timeline. However, 400 years from now, they're everywhere. Like, they're breathing without the oxygen mask and stuff. So they're like, that's interesting. And then they're like, B, but we can't find anyone. So what the fuck's up with this? What are we going to do? It has some twists and turns. It's got a lot. It's a very cheaply made movie, but one of those cheaply made movies where it's done by someone who's studied special effects at cinema school. So, all the special effects look quite good for the budget and stuff. My biggest hang up for this movie is Cody Smith McPhee is terrible. And I not often I just want to straight up shit on someone's acting in a movie, but by God, is he just atrocious nearly in this movie. Like, it is some of the worst casting I think I have seen in years. Like, I know earlier I was talking about Rami Malek being miscast, but you're not like, oh, he's distractingly terrible. Whereas Cody Smith McPhee, it's like, okay, I don't think he's ever had a leading role. Maybe like Ender's Game or whatever it was. Was that him or was that someone else? I think that was him, wasn't it? Other than that, he plays supporting roles. For the last couple of years, he's been playing old mate Nightcrawler in the X-Men movies and stuff like that. So, he's never had the leading role. And every time he has to have a dramatic scene in this, it is just, it's killing me. Like, it's, and I don't know if the full blame goes on him or the director, Seth Sleflani. It's like, obviously you can put the blame on both. Like maybe he just needs a good director, these sorts of things. So, but by God, he was like some of the worst, distractingly bad acting I've seen sometimes. It has a kind of cool ending, I guess, but yeah, for the most part, it was kind of boring. It would have been like maybe a 6 at best with a tighter script and some bad acting. Because even Ryan Quanten, like, you worked in Hollywood, like you were Anna Paquin's brother in True Blood. What are you doing, dude? Like, even he's like kind of not that good in this. I'm like, come on, what are we doing over here? You've worked in Hollywood, so yeah, no, I wouldn't suggest it. I don't think it was very good. I do have a review, exposurenetwork.com. 4 out of 10. Lots of 4s this week. I'm handing out 4s like they're fucking candy at the moment.
Yeah, candy. Speaking of 4s, you watched Crime Scene, The Vanishing of Cecil House. At Cecil House. Would you give that a 4?
Did I give that a 4? Did I? I think I gave it a 4.
Would you give that a 4?
I think look it up on Trakt while I talk, because I did score it. If you look up the full season on Trakt, I think I gave it a 4 or a 5. So we'll see if I gave it the dreaded 4 as well. One of the two. Anyway, this documentary is terrible. Everyone's talking about it at the moment. It's one of these Netflix ones. So whenever these Netflix documentaries take off or they get promoted, I feel like all of a sudden everyone's talking about them. But this one's shithouse. This isn't like Tiger King where, and I only gave that like a 7 or whatever, but I was like, Tiger King. It was some good fun. This is 4 episodes, an hour each, that should have been a 90-minute movie at best. There's just simply not the right amount of source material here. And also where they put the focus, it's horrible. But anyway, the setup is there's a hotel in America, in Los Angeles, in the bad part of Los Angeles, like downtown Los Angeles, called the Cecil Hotel. Apparently someone's died in every room. People are like, is it haunted? Is it fucked up? It's a combination of everything. They're like, someone has literally died in nearly every room. So when the show starts, you're like, that is interesting. A hotel where someone's died that's had that much death. I am intrigued. Then the main point of this doco is it focuses on this case from, and I remember seeing this video because it went around Twitter, went around YouTube where this happened. There's this video posted of this young woman called, what's her name? Elisa Lam. And there was a video of the security footage in the elevator where she's standing there and she's doing like all these hand movements and she's like creeping out. She's looking behind the elevator. Like it looks like she's like being chased or she's speaking to fucking ghosts or like conjuring spells or some shit. And I remember when this went around Twitter and YouTube, everyone watched it and everyone was sharing it and everyone was going, what the fuck is going on with this lady? She disappears. They can't find her. The cops literally search every single room in the hotel. They scan all the security footage. They're like, she never left the hotel. We can't find her. What the fuck happened to her? Ghost has kidnapped her. So there's definitely a interesting disappearance / crime / whatever to be told here. However, the show goes, let's not focus on the facts here. let's spend the majority of the documentary having about 5 or 6 YouTube conspiracy theorists explain to you what happened while they were sitting at their computers at home fucking on Reddit trying to figure this out. And I've compared this talking to other people because Nick messaged me the other day because he saw whatever score I gave it on Trakt and was like, you gave it the right score because he said it was shit as well. Buddy Watson from Radio Watson also has finished this and he also said it was shit. So everyone's keep watching this. No one watched this. It's not very good. Anyway, all in agreement. The focus on the YouTube crazy people is nonsensical. My comparison I made to Nick was that thing I watched, even though it wasn't new, but I watched it at the start of this year, that Don't Fuck With Cats, which has a big cast of internet sleuths involved in that. That's fine because they are literally integral to how the case moves forward and how the person who was fucking with cats actually gets caught. Did I not talk about this one? Do you know
you did. It's just a weird phrasing.
Okay, well, there's a guy who kills a cat in a YouTube
Wait,
video.
is this Don't Fuck With Cats, right?
Yeah, have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen Don't Fuck With Cats.
Yeah, so see what I'm saying is the conspiracy theorists in that, or YouTubers or whatever, the people who started the Facebook group and Don't Fuck With Cats, they're integral to be interviewed because they're not just crazy conspiracy theorists. They were to a degree, however, they turned out to be right. And they actually were important to what happens in that. However, in this documentary, Cecil Hotel, these people are all fucking wrong, proved to be wrong, and still continue to have kind of conspiracy theories. And they're like, let's focus on them as the the key pieces to talk about this case. Anyway, don't watch this documentary shit. That's my... What'd I give it? Did you find a score?
The first couple of episodes were 6s, middle 5, and then 4s towards the end.
No, if you click on the season, I gave overall. I gave an overall score. No, you're shit. Come on now. You had that. I talked forever. I'm pretty sure I just talked for like 10 hours about this.
He just
the rating.
fucking
5.
killed it, like.
5? There you go. It's not a 4. There you go.
Disappointing. That it didn't fit the thing. But yeah, that's everything that we've been watching. Let's move into a little bit of film news. Martin Scorsese made some headlines this past week with some of his comments that he made in a essay for Harper's Magazine. And pretty much he says, quote, "As recently as 15 years ago, the term content was heard only when people were discussing the cinema on a serious level and was contrasted with and measured against form. Then gradually it was used more and more by people who took over media companies, most of whom knew nothing about the history of art form or even cared to think that they should. Content became a business term for all moving images. A David Lean movie, a cat video, a Super Bowl commercial, a superhero sequel, a series episode. It was linked, of course, not to the theatrical experience, but to home viewing on the streaming platform that has become to overtake the movie-going experiences just as Amazon overtook physical stores." So do you guys think that are films losing their, I don't know, their reverence, I guess, with the slew of content in quotation marks that gets dumped on places like Netflix and Amazon?
My big takeaway from... I was going to say, does anyone here actually know anyone who's referred to TV shows or movies as content, for a start?
No.
Even in the intro to this podcast, I refer to online content. It's TV, film, and online content.
Yeah, I just want to get my thought out there. I have no problem with people calling YouTube, like, if you're like, we refer to YouTube videos and stuff as online content. Or whatever.
All
it's
the
like,
stuff
what the fuck
we
else?
do here at the Exposure Network is content.
Yeah, like, whenever we're like, oh, we're going to make some content or whatever, like, what the fuck else do you just call making YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff? That's not what he's talking about, though. So, I've never heard someone call movies and TV shows content.
No.
I would assume it's business people who he's mostly referring to. People who probably work behind the scenes at a place like Netflix going, we need more content on the service for people to consume.
Yes.
But, Ciaran, thoughts?
I think this is a common occurrence of accessibility. If you compare, say, 10, 15 years ago, where people had to be way more selective with what movies they were watching, people used to spend like hours, like potentially an hour to like looking through movies at a video store and being like, what movie am I going to rent? What am I taking home? What looks good enough? Just based on the box art.
Miss that shit.
Yeah, or like, you used to have maybe during a year you would only be going to the movies like a handful of times tops to watch a movie. So those movies were selected and they were often great movies. Not everybody had the luxury of watching every single movie. Now you have at your fingertips, without leaving your house, without moving off the couch, you have a almost endless supply of movies for you to potentially watch. Like, you just have access to everything. So once that accessibility grows, of course, it means it's going to dilute the quote-unquote quality of movies people are watching, because people are watching more movies, so their chances of watching, like, crappy or subpar movies is far greater than it was. Like, it's just like the case of people who compare, not many people used to get shot 20 years ago or some shit. And it was like, no, you just didn't hear about it. Because it was the internet that made you, so every piece of news that is out there, you have at your fingertips. You just didn't, it's like, if you lived in America, like, 40, 50 years ago, you didn't have a fucking clue what was going on in Europe half the time. Europe's fucking Europe. Like, it's just, it's not a case of everything nowadays is instantaneously at your fingertips. As soon as it happens, somebody has posted online about it. Probably some dickhead named Dylan Blight if it's about pop culture, movies, or video games on Explosion Network. But, you read it and you instantly have that information where, I guess, so movies is now going through that same thing where there is more movies for people to watch. Of course, that doesn't work. It doesn't make there be more quality movies or good movies. It's generally that there's more shit movies than good movies in terms of quality over quantity.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it obviously he's also talks about curation and how that's an important factor in the distinction between films and other things, and how curation. I think it's definitely a thing of you've got, say, a Martin Scorsese film right up next to the 50th iteration of Medea's grandmother's funeral. It on services, those things are treated as equal, where really they're not to most people. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, and I always enjoy kind of hearing what Scorsese has to think on the industry. Of course, people kind of think he's just being kind of elitist, and that people should be able to watch and consume whatever they want as much as they want. But yeah, kind of, it's always interesting to hear someone like him talk about the fate of the industry, and how is cinema going to survive? Not just this pandemic, but how we've been watching things during this pandemic.
Yeah. I don't think I talked about it on here, but I guess it's relevant that so Empire did a special edition of the magazine where, and I kind of want to get it because I wouldn't mind reading the whole thing, not just the random parts of it that they've published online that you could read for free. But they did an issue focused on cinema. Got a whole bunch of statements from directors and actors about like why they love the cinema. The whole issue is pretty much saying, here's people saying why they love cinema, why the cinema should exist, and why that whole argument of the cinema is dead. Like let's just continue. Everything should go straight to streaming. Like it was pretty much an issue devoted to being like anti that. And as a tie into that, Empire released a podcast where I can't remember the editor's name, but the editor plus Edgar Wright, director of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and whatever, and Quentin Tarantino, director of Tarantino movies, they talked for 3 hours about their love for cinema, favorite cinema moments, and I kind of found listening to that podcast kind of made me feel good just to hear how very much they're like sick of hearing this argument, and how much you can just hear it in their tone, like the whole notion of, because especially Edgar Wright, he's like, because Edgar Wright pitched this idea to Empire. It wasn't the opposite way, which the editor kept laughing about. He's like, I haven't even paid you for this. Edgar Wright's like, I just want to do this. Because Edgar Wright said he got sick of hearing people saying cinema's dead, cinema shouldn't come back, like all the streaming services. And he was like, I'm just fucking sick of this. So he reached out to Empire and was like, can we do a special issue talking about how great the cinema is and all this sort of stuff? So, and you can hear it in his tone, like how much he obviously hates hearing people say that, and how much he's very much against it. So yeah, I was getting my bar filled up listening to that, and like both of them say some stuff I do disagree with, because I feel like I'm definitely not in the middle, but I'm not like full like fuck all streaming services obviously, or like any of this sort of stuff. Like Quentin Tarantino on the podcast is very much like fuck all that shit, and not like they should die, but he doesn't subscribe to any of it. He very much is like, if you're not watching a movie in the cinema with friends, you're not watching a movie. You didn't watch a movie. Like that's the way he even calls Edgar Wright out several times for movies. He's like, Edgar Wright's like, oh, I watched that at home with my girlfriend or whatever. And Tarantino's like, you didn't watch it. You need to watch it at my cinema with an audience, like, and that's the kind of guy he is. And that's, I know that grates people to a degree, but that's also something that very Tarantino or whatever. So anything with all this sort of stuff, even with Scorsese, I'm for the most part agreeing on everything they're saying. I'm definitely not as hardcore like
the thing
fuck
is,
streaming services and superhero movies, because I like superhero movies as well, so I can't like fully,
Aren't they, for a lot of it, preaching to the fucking choir, though? Like, the people that are going to be listening to this and reading this stuff is generally going to be people that agree with it. Like,
well, no, because what's the biggest genre of films that pick up at the box office? Superhero movies. And those people, every single time Scorsese makes one of these comments and says something about, this sort of change and stream service or whatever, all those people, which are the majority of cinema going audiences now, these superhero fans, which does include us, but there seems to be a big loud bunch that are very much like, anytime he says anything, he's like, fuck Scorsese, fuck this, all like all this.
Well, I guess
stuff,
I guess it's because he's so opposed to it that he draws out more opposition from the other side in terms. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing cinemas trying to doing something to bring people in, right? Like, I want even though it's probably not the best financial decision, they need to do something to bring people back into cinemas and give them a reason. They need to either drop prices or have some kind of deals or do something. Because at the minute, I don't know about other cinemas, but the Shepperton Village Cinema, when I was there for Earwig and the Witch, it was business as usual, really. Other than COVID kind of changes, it was business as usual. Nothing really has changed. There's nothing special. There's no feeling of welcome back to the cinema. It's just kind of, hey, we're kind of open. It's like we were back in the past. I feel like they need to once again make going to the cinema feel like an event. Make it feel big and interesting again, instead of to try and win people back into coming to it.
I would say they don't have them, they got fucked because no one was releasing movies.
They did get fucked. I completely agree with it.
And B, I don't think they can lower the prices because obviously they have a percentage they have to send to the publishers, distributors, and I think the cut they already take off the cinema tickets is pretty fucking low, and they make most of their money.
Sorry, so maybe lower the prices, but do something to make it more of an event. Whether that means that they lower their condiment, their confectionery and drinks and stuff a little bit, because that is where they make their money. Of course, is you buying things from their candy bar.
Here's the question, right? So, me and Ash are always on here. We're happy to go to cinema or whatever, but you're someone who doesn't go to cinema often. So, you're a good subject to just ask, why don't you like going to the cinema more often? Is it because there's never movies that attract you enough? There's nothing on big enough, or is it simply a mindset of, you'll only go for the Marvel movies, or is it too expensive?
No, because honestly, at the end of the day, as a lucky Telstra customer, movie tickets aren't actually that expensive. It's
that's exactly how I pay for mine.
It's $12 or whatever. It's
$12.50.
Yeah, $12.50 for a ticket. So price is an option. Getting because going to buying a drink and stuff ends up making it more, and I'm somebody that
My counter to that is, do you need to buy popcorn?
No, but that's the thing. I'm somebody that if I'm going, I want to do the full experience. I want going to the cinema to be
as
an
Quentin
experience.
Tarantino said, if you don't have popcorn, watch a movie. Did you watch a movie?
I don't think he said that. That's
pretty sure that's word for word.
You twisted what I said, but that's fine.
Wait, no, I'm mixing it up. I'm mixing Quentin Tarantino with
Buddy Watson.
Buddy Watson, yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
If there are movies that interest me, come out and at the same time I have time to go and watch them, I'll go watch them. It's more about going at a time is often I don't know, for me, where there's I could be doing other stuff, or I could be hanging out with friends or playing D&D or anything like that. Sometimes just being I'm going at this time at 2:00 on a Saturday to go watch a movie. I guess for me it always doesn't work. But I don't think there's a reason.
To be honest, my answer to why you wouldn't go as much is simply for why everything you explained before about there being so many choices at home. I think just subconsciously for a lot of people, including yourself, because you may watch a trailer and go, yeah, that looks pretty good. I wouldn't mind watching that. But then you're I could just press play on all this Crunchyroll anime, this anime, all these Disney Plus shows.
The amount of time I spend watching movies and watching anime is kind of fucking minimal, to be perfectly honest. I watch the main reason I watch movies is because I have a podcast the next day or that day that you fuckers have said, hey, we're watching this movie, you need to watch it. That is my main I don't think I'd watch as many movies as I do if it wasn't for doing this. Because for me personally, movies just isn't I don't know, there's something about, I don't know, it's really weird. like I it's almost like I feel like I'm not wasting time, but it feels like time inefficient that I'm kind of locked. If I go to the movie, I'm like locked in, and that's all I'm doing. Where if I'm playing video
How
games,
fucking
I can
good's
be like-
that? Just to be locked in the cinema with no choice but to watch it. Fucking fantastic. Love
Yeah.
that.
Like that's the thing,
Escape
but
from
that's
the outside world for 2 hours. It's great.
It's great. It's great. It's good shit.
But
no
it just
phone.
seems like, and I guess the other thing is I don't have. For me, cinemas are very social. In terms, even though you don't talk during the movie, I like going to the cinemas with people, talking before it, talking about it after, breaking things down. And I don't really have a group of friends that goes and watch movies. We have a work group that goes and watches every single superhero movie, and it's called Super Friends, and we're a bunch of dorks. But like that stuff probably incentivizes me even more to go watching Marvel movies, even though I'd watch those no matter what, because it's just part of me watching movies nowadays.
Being part of the culture, yeah.
Yeah, being part of the culture. But at the same time, if I had friends that were more interested in going to movies more often, I'd probably be down to go watch more movies. It's just a case of, like, I'm not... It's not the greatest feeling watching movies by yourself either.
How fucking dare you?
Yeah.
No,
How
I
fucking
felt
dare you.
really like I didn't say this when we did the spoiler cast for it, but I felt really fucking weird watching Earwig and the Witch because it was me by myself with like 3 or 4 small families. And I was just like,
Ciaran, I went to an opening night of a Disney movie. The cinema was packed with nothing but kids and families. And
you know what?
I went
I
in
would be
by
more
myself
okay.
and sat next to a grandma and 2 kids. I was like, hey guys.
The thing is, right, if it was packed, I would feel more okay, right? I would feel more...
You just pretend to be with the family.
Like, I'd feel like it's more like there's...
Like a
you know,
communal experience,
Look,
yeah.
it's
Like,
not an issue. You only felt weird because you don't do it often. But and I get it to a degree because when I used to go to the cinema often with other people, I would look at the people by themselves and go, "The fuck, they're here by themselves." After doing it for years, I have absolutely no fucking issue. I just waltz in and out. The cinema people like it is a non-thing, and you start to recognize more people also just go to cinema by yourself because although I agree to a part, yes, going to watch a movie with people, you go somewhere else, you talk about it, that's all great. At the same time, it's literally just watching a fucking movie, and there's no reason you can't do that by yourself.
no, I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying people should not see by themselves. I'm like, it's not like going to a movie. If I'm going by myself because I'm the only person who wants it, sure. But I just don't feel the motivation to go to see more movies in that position. Like, I just don't, like, unless I have a reason to go watch it, it's like, I'm not somebody who's just going to go watch movies for fun. That sounds weird. It sounds really weird and broken and backwards, but it's just like, I'm not going to watch it for purely the fun of watching that movie.
Okay, good to know going forward.
I was interested to see what his
Yeah.
his answer would be to that. So
Yeah. So, to a solution to more people going to the cinema is for people to get friends. Is that it?
I think that's kind of where he ended up
I get.
going with
Yeah,
that.
your solution to it is for people who do like going to the cinema to make more friends and take them to the cinema.
No, but I think stuff like, make a bigger thing out of opening nights. And, like, make it feel more like an event again. Like, make do, like, you know what was really cool? I don't think I ever did this in Australia. And I know it's done it for you, Ash, but in England, it used to be a really big thing to do advanced screenings of stuff. Yeah. And you would get more people at advanced screenings. And yes, it's not really their option. They can't play it whenever. But advanced screenings used to feel like a more of a kind of an event or a thing.
I feel, obviously, I would go to those kind of advanced screenings where you would pay and go early.
Yeah.
But obviously that's getting cut down since COVID. Although Minari I saw Minari like the weekend before it actually came out. So,
and I saw Long Story Short 2 weeks before it came out. Advanced screening.
By accident. I don't know how that happened.
First review.
Side note: I actually did watch that. It was quite good.
How do you? It's a fucking rom-com, and you forget to talk about it. Come on now, it's good. How good is it? How good's Ronnie in it?
Ronnie Cheng is amazing, and
yep, there you go.
You know,
everyone watch it. Australian film. Long Story Short. Good shit.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Tangent.
I watched it at the cinemas.
Yeah. Switching to something you can't watch at the cinemas.
Okay.
Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming.
Ooh.
March 18th, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, to binge or Foxtel with their DC superhero channel pop-up.
It's a pop-up channel or something. Yeah, they've done a couple of these, so yeah.
So obviously, Long Road, it's finally coming. It's been confirmed that it's going to get a full worldwide release. Obviously they dropped a new trailer. Dylan, did you watch it?
I think I did. I can't remember, to be honest, but yeah, I believe it. It was like a week or so ago. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, a week or so ago.
Yeah,
obviously, the We Live in a Society thing was.
Yes, I did watch it. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, We Live in a Society. I watched it. So I'm going to straight out say I'm pretty excited for this. I'm legit excited to watch this. I'm just going to stick it out here right now. I know there's a lot of that picture of Jared Leto went up today. Joker looking like fucking Jesus Christ. Bit weird, but again, I don't really care. I honestly, I'm kind of sick of people shitting on this to a degree. Like, there is a level of the same people, and I'm gonna put it this way: the same people I saw that liked Last Jedi and were like, "Can people who hate Last Jedi please stop like getting in my mentions and like giving me shit?" These people are now giving Snyder Cut shit and giving the fans of this movie preemptively. They're just like constantly shitting on it, and I'm like, how about all of you take what you had to go through for liking The Last Jedi and go in the corner and shut the fuck up? Because I'm kind of getting sick of it. I'm like, it's always a meme. I don't know why people, like, if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, cool, good for you. There's absolutely no reason, as of the recording, for people to hate Zack Snyder to the degree he does. If you go onto my Twitter, and I suggest everyone should, or track it down, I retweeted a Vanity Fair article that posted on Monday. Anyway, earlier this week, Vanity Fair article posted. Everyone should read that. It's fucking fantastic. It delves into not only how Zack Snyder had to deal with the studio Warner Brothers kind of fucking him hard on this movie, and then deals with how he felt and his wife felt when they had their daughter unfortunately take her own life, and they had to deal with that while getting fucked with the studio, and that's the reason he left making Justice League. Like, what a horrible set of circumstances to get to have to leave behind the movie he spent years. Like, he started the DC universe with Man of Steel, and now he has to leave because of a horrific family affair. Like, I've said a million times, I'm happy he's coming back. I think he deserves this. I think he needs this for closure. In the interview, Vanity Fair, he says that the film at the end says dedicated to, and I'm sorry for getting his daughter's name, but it's dedicated to her. The reason he's playing apparently he said Hallelujah plays at the end, but a certain cover of it, because it was his daughter's favorite song. Like, this is a very personal film to a degree for him. Another thing is, like, they interview a bunch of people and they're like, a rare case these days, apparently Zack Snyder, male director, from all accounts, you can hate the way he makes movies, but apparently super fucking nice guy. Like, from all accounts, everyone says things. So it annoys me.
Especially juxtaposed against who filled in as director.
Yeah, Joss Whedon, who is just
the news in the last month.
Yeah, Joss Whedon has gone from internet nerd culture love child that everyone loved, Five Line, all that stuff. Everyone's like, yeah, Joss Whedon, best. Now everyone's like, Joss Whedon. like he is just, like, good, fuck off. Anyway, yeah, so he steps in, fills in, does a horrible job at finishing up Justice League. I don't like that movie. I've only watched it once. It was shit. Everyone knows it's shit. I don't think anyone sticks up for it. It was a terrible fucking mess. However, the mess it was in, because of Zack Snyder having to leave, not his fault. Again, if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, don't fucking watch it. But to give this movie so much shit, in my opinion, unjustifiably, and look, if I come out and I say it wasn't very good, I still stand by. That's no reason that everyone should be like treating it like it's like Zack Snyder got special treatment or whatever this. I really think that Vanity Fair article does a good job of explaining why this movie's more than just # release the Snyder Cut fanboys. And the article does a good job at pointing out how a lot of those people were aggressive and trolly or whatever, they got, there was like that aspect of it, but they also counterpoint that and say those same fans, or maybe not the exact same ones, section of it, have raised like $500 million for suicide prevention for Zack Snyder and his daughter. So it's like, just, this movie's more at this point. This movie's more than just Justice League. Like it kind of represents something, and I kind of like it for that. So
yeah, I'm definitely keen to check it out. It's got so much baggage attached to it. It's like it's
never going to be an amazing movie. It's like just. Yeah.
I mean, it could be anything. To be perfectly honest, the reports we've heard is that obviously they completely cut down all the stuff that he shot. People within Warner Brothers have said anonymously that they were very disappointed with the Joss Whedon cut of the film and that kind of thing. So who knows at this point? I think it's a lot of the media around this film as well. Oh, he spent all this money on reshoots. No, he's only shot one thing. Oh, he's getting however many millions of dollars for this. No, he's not getting paid a cent. It's like
that. The Vanity Fair article, he does in an interview say that he's getting paid $0 for this, and he had to take $0 to get creative control of his cut of the movie. So obviously, they probably use money to pay other people for the reshoots they did, but he's getting paid $0. He did get paid money for the first time he was directing it. But he hasn't got repaid for this version. Yeah.
Great that we'll be able to see it, unfortunately. Well, we don't know how long it is, right?
It's 4 hours.
It's 4 hours. So maybe it's best that we stop playing at cinema.
If Ciaran plans to watch it, you'll have to watch it in 6 sessions, I think so.
I wish I hadn't told you guys that. You fuck. That's not even going to be out for weeks.
It's like March 18th it's like a couple weeks away. Yeah.
No, what you're referencing with me needing to watch in fucking 6 parts.
It's fine. We do this a lot. Ash does it a lot. So that's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. The internet, or at least Twitter, went abuzz when they announced the director for Train to Busan remake. So the night comes for us director Timo Tjahjanto. Is set to direct the American remake of Train to Busan. He's shot films like May the Devil Take You, The Night Comes for Us, and Headshot. The film is being produced by James Wan. Of course, a remake of the much-loved Train to Busan action horror zombie film that kind of became a very big hit. But obviously, a lot of people are very upset that this movie that they sold the rights to in 2016 is being remade. I don't really care if they make a remake of it or not. I think people should be free to make it whatever they want. I don't think it tarnishes the legacy of the original film if the new version is not as good or very different to that film. And there are like plenty of examples of good remakes of foreign films that you probably didn't even realize. So yeah, Dylan, how do you feel about? Well, Ciaran, what did you think of this story? Did you?
Well, how do you feel about remakes? Because I doubt he knows the original movies. How do you feel about
I don't know the original movies. All I see is
really
people talking about
Train to Busan.
I've never seen Train to Busan, and all I see is people talking about them recently, and I'm like, should I watch?
It's a really good zombie movie. Like,
okay, all right.
Set in
but
Japan
remakes
English remakes.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do a remake. Like,
in this case, I'm specifically talking about English remakes. We'll get to some other remakes in a second, but
English remakes,
remakes of foreign films.
Foreign films is often a terrible idea. Like that's we were having a conversation before the recording about like dubbing for Japanese anime, where it's like if it's like really high value and high produced, and it's like one of the top animes that's going to have good dubbing. Everything else is garbage. Like, it just doesn't match up the lip flaps and stuff, and it's terrible. And I think that's much of the case. When it's done, a couple of things. Culturally, some things just don't translate. Culturally, some things are terrible to translate. It can just be really small things that characters do, or their positions in society and stuff like that don't translate well once you change it to an English and Western society in general. So, I guess if it's done with care and it's done with some appreciation of the original, it could possibly be good. But most of the time, they're just bad.
Interesting. Dylan, what do you think of this news?
I don't know why they're remaking it, because there's nothing like when I was thinking of other like foreign horror movie remakes and stuff, you think of like The Ring or The Grudge, or like there was that 2000 mid 2000s period where they were just remaking all, like after The Ring did so well, they were like, let's fucking go. But the thing with all those is they all had like unique characters or like lore and stuff like that. Especially when it comes to like The Ring and Grudge and a couple other ones. Train to Busan is literally just a zombie movie. So I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's like specific lore inside the universe and whatever else, but there's no. It's just a weird thing for me to remake. I don't really care, to be honest, because here's the thing, I can almost guarantee that the majority of people you see tweeting how they shouldn't remake these movies, blah blah blah. It's like the one foreign film they watched that year that they liked, and they were like, "Oh, let me get my high horse," and now it's like, okay,
don't remake all these foreign films.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, if we actually ask a lot of these people, since you're on such a high horse about remaking movies, how much foreign films do you actually watch a year, and how much foreign film do you actually support? Or have you just watched the one big foreign film of that like period, and it happened to be Train to Busan that year, where everyone was like, it's a really good fucking zombie movie, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of them would be like, well, I don't actually watch that much. So it's like, okay, well, maybe get off your high fucking horse. I don't particularly think it should be remade, because I feel like it's a very standard thing to say. If we all got better at reading fucking subtitles, you could just go watch many movies. However, they've been remaking foreign films since the fucking 1950s, so it's a dead conversation. Like, it's just going to keep happening. So yeah, I don't particularly care. Will I watch it? Don't know. Maybe, but I don't really care.
The thing to me that interests me is how much do the original production company make off.
So the producers would get paid, and that's it. The director wouldn't get paid unless it would be producer. The writer wouldn't get paid unless they were a producer. The producers own the rights to the movie, and that's who would get paid.
Yeah, but then that's that money coming into the film industry in that country that they then can use to make whatever their next project is.
I mean, that's a maybe. Like, it's kind of pocketed money to a degree. So it's like selling the rights to a book and saying that means that person uses that money to inspire more writing. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
a lot of writers who need those.
Yeah, I know, but like, just so if the producers of this get paid a bunch of money for it, and I doubt they actually got paid that much, to be honest. But if they got a bunch of money, it's not enough to suddenly inflame that country's film industry.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's like an extra project or something that may not have gotten made or not. But yeah,
it's not groundbreaking, but yeah.
Yeah. So I thought this would be an interesting game. I'm going to give you each a couple of films, and you tell me what language the original film.
It's like, fuck me. No, I'm going to be terrible at it too, Dara.
Yeah. All right.
Probably pick the most obscure of random shit.
Yeah, really obscure random shit. Ciaran, in what language was the original version of True Lies made?
I have to know what the movie True Lies was.
True Lies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, no. Jamie Lee Curtis.
I'm going to go French.
It is French.
Pog. Let's go. Nailed it.
Wow.
Dylan.
What a fucking guess.
Dylan, what was the original language of Christopher Nolan's Insomnia?
I think it was German or something?
No, it's Norwegian.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was like. I knew it was like. I knew it was like that direction. Something.
All right, Ciaran, what was in what language was the original The Parent Trap?
Italian.
No, it's German. You know them Germans.
Oh.
They love their parent trapping.
Flurgendurgen.
Love trapping them parents. Okay, Dylan, what was the original language for Solaris, the Steven Soderbergh film starring George Clooney?
I haven't even watched that, so the what?
I haven't watched anything except for Parent Trap.
Solaris?
Yep.
When'd that come out?
2002.
Is that? It's the one about the sun, isn't it? In space.
No, that's Sunshine.
Oh.
What's it about?
It's similar. Film is set entirely on a spaceship orbiting the planet Solaris, adding flashbacks to the previous experiences of the main characters on Earth. The protagonist struggles with the questions of Solaris' motivations, his beliefs and memories, and reconciling what was lost with an opportunity for a second chance.
French.
No, it's Russian.
He's not gonna have the same language twice in there.
He did. He had German. No, I said German.
You said German. You were wrong though.
All right. Ciaran, what was the film Vanilla Sky originally in?
Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla Sky, starring Tom Cruise.
No, that's fine.
And Penelope Cruz.
Vanilla. I'm thinking someone that has a very kind of bland palette to it.
Have
Sky,
you not heard of Vanilla Sky? Come on
no,
now.
I have not heard of Vanilla Sky. Leave me alone. Polish.
Spanish.
Fuck.
All right. Dylan, last one. What was the original language of The Last House on the Left?
I've watched it.
Yeah.
That makes it worse. What was it? That's a good question, eh? Last House on the Left. Nah, fuck, I don't know. Kieran's gonna win off a fucking random French guess over here. He'll fucking take it home to bank. Last House on the Left? Yeah, no, fucking... Don't know, I can't... It's funny, I can only think of like 3 countries in my head too. I'm like, it's French, German, or fucking German.
I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna steal it with Korean.
No, it's not Korean.
It's not Korean.
Fuck.
So you still got 198 options.
Yeah, I'm gonna German. Fuck it.
No, it's Swedish.
Say it again.
So
Double down.
congrats, Ciaran, on winning.
Oh, nothing but Nat fucking hits the first one and then
this-
just cruises on home.
This mini contest. So in more remake news, or actually direct sequel news, it was announced that Adam Wingard, director of The Guest and Godzilla vs. Kong, is currently co-writing and directing a direct sequel to John Woo's action classic, Face Off. Of course, if you don't know, like Ciaran probably doesn't know, that's the film starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
I love Face Off. Leave me alone. Face Off is great.
You ready for my hot piece of information?
Yeah.
Never watched Face Off.
Oh,
Me neither.
You've never watched Face Off?
No.
Actually, I've watched like half of Face Off.
I've
You were
seen
giving-
memes.
I've
Everyone
watched
just
up
shits
to
on it.
got the Face Off, yeah.
I've seen the like 5-minute clip where they're just like shooting out and stuff like, but I've never actually watched it.
There's the great scene where like freaking Nicolas Cage like gets up and he's like got no face, but he's having a smoke, and like that's great.
Classic
That's,
cinema.
like,
Cinema.
yeah, it's
Yeah. So, Ciaran, how do you feel about a direct sequel to Face Off? 20-something years after.
Is it like Face On or like Facelift?
I believe it's
or-
basically one of these where it's going to be a remake, but setting it as
It's going to be a sequel. No, I
Like-
understand. Like
they're going to do the same thing with different
well, it depends,
actors,
right? Because 21 Jump Street was pretty good, right? It was like,
That is a movie that was a sequel / a reboot, yes.
yeah, exactly. Like that was pretty good. It depends on what decisions they make around it. Personally, I can't see it being good, but sure, give it a try.
Well, the first one's such a classic, isn't it? I mean, it's just a...
It really is a classic. John Travolta and
cult
Nicolas Cage
classic.
are both fantastic.
I mean,
I have to watch it, though, because I like Adam Wingard, so fucking, I guess, even though he did Death Note, and that was shit, but...
Do you want John Travolta and Nicolas Cage back to get their faces off?
No, fuck no.
No.
Who should get their faces off then?
So everyone's been trying to work this out all fucking week on Twitter, and there's some weird casting choices.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
As long as it's not 2 white dudes. You know.
What do you think it's gonna? Wouldn't it be worse if it was like a white and a person of color as well, dude?
I don't know.
Yes. It
Yes.
was.
Well, I think that would be worse, right?
It
if
would.
it was.
What if
it
it's
would be-
just 2 different people of 2 different nationalities? Like a Korean man and a
I think it could be
African
weird.
American guy.
That's the thing, right?
It's just going to be The Rock and fucking Kevin Hart, isn't it?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
probably it. It's going to be
Yeah.
The Rock and Kevin Hart. Hopefully, they get the roles the right way around this time, and not in like fucking Borderlands with Kevin Hart playing Roland.
Jeez. Wow. Alright. In other interesting remake news, it was announced that Donald Glover and Phoebe Waller-Bridge are working on a new series for Amazon Studios, in which they'll be remaking the classic film Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Which was a remake.
which was
Which
a
was
remake.
already, yeah. This is the third remake.
In my mind, there's just the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie film.
Yeah. I'm all about this, and I don't love the Angelina Jolie whatever that movie. Had a cool song that Busta Rhymes did for it though. That was pretty fucking cool. Had a cool music video. Don't love that movie, but I'm all about this. Yes. Sounds great. I don't even need to know anything else other than the casting. I feel like that's it, you know?
I was going to say, just knowing that Donald Glover and Phoebe Waller-Bridge are working together on it after they've kind of pursued it in so many ways since. Like,
I hope it has the same sexual chemistry that they had in Solo.
Solo, yeah. It's the spiritual successor to Solo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So it just shot up my list as to things I'm anticipating. Apparently, Donald Glover signed like an 8-figure deal with Amazon Studios going forward. So
for multiple shows, which has me questioning what the fuck is happening with Atlanta.
They've already signed on for 2 seasons of Atlanta, and apparently they're going to shoot it back to back.
Okay,
but
so that means
that's got to be difficult. It's difficult because obviously everybody in that cast is kind of blown up in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, Lakeith Stanfield definitely
is everything. Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing to look forward to. Let's jump into, it's really hard that every week there's so many projects that get announced that we don't really have enough time to cover them all. So we've got a segment that I like to call "Would You Want to Invest?"
2 game shows in one episode.
Jesus, I know. I'm going to list off a bunch of different projects that have been announced in the last couple of weeks. You tell me, would you like to invest, fully invest, or not invest? You can use any criteria you like, whether you just don't like the premise, whether you think you'll make lots of money, whether you think you'll be good critically, where you think... I don't know what... I didn't really think of another option. So let's jump straight into it. George Railroad Martin is currently working to develop a new sci-fi series for HBO based on the Roadmark series of novels from his friend and mentor Roger Zelazny. Do I have a description? So the novel is about a highway called the Road, which runs from the unimaginable past to the far future, and those who travel it have access to the turn-offs, leading to all times and places, even to the alternate time streams of histories that never happened. Why the dragons bequeath made the Road, or who they are, no one knows, but the Road has always been there, and for those who know how to find it, it always will be.
No, what the fuck you just said, little boy, but...
Yeah. No, thank you. I'll keep my money safely in my bank account. Thank you. You know what? I immediately thought that as soon as you said George R.R. Martin, and I was like, I'm good, thank you. I'm really not down for that at all.
Yeah.
No invest from anyone.
All right. Ant-Man and the Wasp star Abby Ryder Forreston and Rachel McAdams are set to star in the Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, from the director of Edge of 17, Kelly Freeman Craig. The description is Margaret Simon, already 12, likes long hair, tuna fish, and the smell of rain and things that are pink. She's just moved from New York to Farbrook, New Jersey, and is anxious to fit in with her new friends, Nancy, Gretchen, and Janie. When they form a secret club to talk about private subjects like boys' bras and getting the first periods, Margaret is happy to be along, but none of them can believe Margaret doesn't have religion and that she isn't going to the Y or the Jewish Community Center. What they don't know is Margaret has her own very special connection with God. She can talk to God about everything, family, friends, even Moose Freed, her secret crush. It's coming to Netflix, I think.
No, I'm out. I'm out of that one. That sounds like it's just going to be like so many other like kind
not
of
coming to Netflix, so
crappy teen movies that Disney Channel was full of when I was a kid. No thanks.
I give it a medium invest.
Okay.
I want to see how this God angle turns out, and I feel sorry for that girl.
Only because you mentioned Ant-Man and Wasp. Dylan's like, I guess I better. I bet so fucking better. Ant-Man and Wasp was mentioned.
All right. Another adaptation of a Stephen King novel is coming. This time from Edgar Wright, who is set to adapt Stephen King's Running Man.
Take all my money. Take everything.
The book synopsis is a desperate man attempts to win a reality TV game where the only objective is to stay alive in the #1 national bestseller from Stephen King, writing as Richard Bachman. It was the ultimate death game in a nightmare future America. The year is 2025 and reality TV has grown to the point where people are willing to wager their lives for a chance at $1 billion jackpot.
Stephen King was so ahead of his time with that shit. Like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in, full invest. Edgar Wright just is all about this horror life at the moment, so I'm keen to see it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Full invest.
Damn straight. He can have my checkbook.
All right. A new film starring Tom Hardy is coming, called Havoc, being directed by The Raid's Gareth Evans. In Havoc, after a drug deal gone wrong, a bruised detective must fight his way through a criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son while unraveling a deep web of corruption and conspiracy that ensnares his entire city.
Don't even ask me, Ash.
It's a yes from Dylan.
It's like a mild from me. I don't know why I find the irony of Tom Hardy, like star of Venom, being in a movie called Havoc is not lost on me, but mild.
Long listeners of the show should know that if you say Gareth Evans is directing something, Dylan is 100% in for whatever the fuck that is. So I'm all in.
All right. Daisy Ridley is set to star in a new film from Divergent and Limitless director Neil Berger called The Marsh King's Daughter, based on the novel by Karen Dion. Helena Pelliter has a loving husband, 2 beautiful daughters, and a business that fills her days, but she also has a secret. She's the product of an abduction. Her mother was kidnapped as a teenager by her father and kept in a remote cabin in the marshlands of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Helena, born 2 years after the abduction, loved her home in nature, and despite her father's sometimes rude behavior, she loved him too, until she learned precisely how savage she could be. More than 20 years later, she has buried her past so soundly that even her husband doesn't know the truth, but now her father has killed 2 guards, escaped from prison, and has disappeared into the march. The police begin a manhunt, but Helena knows they don't stand a chance, knows that only one person has the skills to find the survivalists the world calls the Marsh King, because the only one person is ever trained by him, his daughter.
That's the weirdest, like, roller coaster of synopsis
It's
I've
like
ever heard.
The Room crossed with Hannah.
I was like, I thought I was listening to a comedy, but then there was a several swerves. I'm like, okay, this is serious. I don't know, fucking mild invest. You two have to fully invest because it's fucking Limitless director. So Kieran's like, oh, I'm all in. My favorite boy. Yeah, Limitless. Oh, best movie ever.
Before that, I probably would have been unsure because can I name the Limitless director's name? No, I cannot. But now you've mentioned it. Oh boy, that's my boy right there. I'm going to full invest.
There we go. Stay on brand, you know?
Oh, good work. So, Tim Burton is set to direct a live-action Addams Family series centered around Wednesday Addams solving spooky mysteries. Accordingly, apparently, the upcoming 8-episode series is a sleuthing, supernatural-infused mystery charting Wednesday's years as a student at the peculiar Nevermore Academy. Wednesday's attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwart a monstrous killing spree that has terrorized the local town, and solve the supernatural mystery that embroiled her parents 25 years ago, all while navigating her new and very tangled relationships with the strange, diverse student body.
Half invest.
I'll full invest in that.
Yeah. Tim Burton's
just been very hit and miss at the moment, so that's why.
Yeah. I mean, this feels like almost too Tim Burton-y. Like Addams Family.
We should go back to original stuff, to be honest, but
yeah, same.
Joaquin Phoenix is set to star in a new film for A24, directed by Ari Aster, called Disappointment Boulevard. Not much is known about the film, except it's set to be a surrealist horror film set in an ultimate present.
Ari Aster's like, man, they didn't nominate anyone from Hereditary for an Oscar nom. This is fucking bullshit. How do I get my movies treated seriously? Brings up Joaquin Phoenix. It's time.
Kieran?
Go half invest in it. I think it's got opportunity.
I'm full invest. You said Ari Aster, so, and Joaquin Phoenix. All in.
All right. Paranormal Activity is set to be rebooted with underwater director William Eubank set to direct. It'll be produced by Jason Blum.
No, I'm good, thanks.
That's a no from me, sir.
That's a no.
Nope.
First movie was really good when it first came out, but, there's been too many CCTV horror movie kind of style shit.
All right. Well, that's it for Would You Want to Invest this week. It's time for Bad Idea of the Week. So, if you don't know, like Ciaran probably doesn't know.
By the way, in case you don't realize, Ciaran, Ash runs this. Ash has been slowly turning What Do You Want to Watch into just a game show. I'm pretty sure.
Just a game show?
Into a variety show, kind of. Got to fill the time that what do we end up watching was used to have. So each episode, I'll bring up some terrible idea that Hollywood has come up with that you have to rate from 1 to 10. 1 being okay, 10 being bad. So the worse it is, the higher the scale.
See, I got this wrong last time. I got this completely backwards last time.
I love how 10 is just bad. Like, it's not like...
See,
last time I wanted to give something a terrible score and I gave it a 1, and then I found out. I was like, oh, that's not how this game works, everyone.
I mean, obviously, last episode was the Little Yachty Uno movie.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't line up very well.
No.
This episode, Brett Ratner lines up directing comeback on Milli Vanilli biopic with Millennium launching sales.
In case anyone doesn't know, Brett Ratner was kicked from Hollywood for allegations of sexual allegations of several things by several women. He disappeared from Hollywood for about 5-6 years at this point. He hasn't made a movie for like 5-6 years. And now he's like, I'm coming back, everyone, like he was hiding. And everyone should go, no, we don't want you back. So 10, this is a horrible idea. Horrible idea.
Yeah, I'll go with the 10.
Okay. If Brett Ratner's name wasn't attached, would you be interested in a Milli Vanilli biopic of the German-French R&B duo who had big success in the late 80s and early 90s before a lip sync scandal caused their careers to spiral?
Yes. 3.
I'd say a 5.
My parents used to talk about them all the time, weirdly. I don't know if it was a big story at some stage, but they always knew a lot about it. So, yeah, I'd go 3 without Brett Ratner.
Okay, but Brett Ratner, a
10.
All right, let's finish up this episode of What Do You Want to Watch with a What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
This week we're doing top 3 things to watch from Star on Disney+. So just on Tuesday, Star, the new collective underneath the Disney Plus umbrella, was added to the service, at least here in Australia. So there's 540 different things that have been added to the service. So we've narrowed it down. It was difficult because there's a lot of good stuff on there that you could potentially be watching. But we'll go around with Ciaran. Let's start with you. What's your number 3 thing to watch?
Number 3 thing to watch is the documentary that is inspiring for all Americans around the nation of America and the United States, that really gives you your where you came from and know
fucking
that,
Borat, isn't
you
it?
know, Honest Abe is looking out for you. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It's such a terrible movie that it's so good. His axe has a shotgun in it. Like, the bottom of his axe is a shotgun. And it's like, I don't know how it's allowed on this, because it's like, oh, by the way, American slavery was because of vampires. And that was why Abraham Lincoln dealt with slavery.
Why do you watch the worst fucking things?
Because it's that bad, but it's so good.
But you would know that if you didn't watch.
It's like The Room.
Exactly, it's like the same shit. I love bringing it up as a documentary as well as an opening. It's just hilarious. It totally happened.
Oh,
wow. This It's going to be a great article this week.
He throws his hat at people.
How do you turn that into an article? Laughter, 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 laughter. Like, what's the fucking...
I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to have to... A lot of transcribing. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Last Man on Earth, the TV series, which I never actually got to finishing because it used to be on late somewhere or something like that, and then it disappeared.
It's like on Channel 7, like at
something like that.
11:30 at night.
Yes. And that disappeared, or maybe I stopped paying attention. It started airing at the same time.
Started airing at 2 a.m. probably.
Was that it? Yeah, it probably wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, so I only watched 2 of the 4 seasons, so I don't know if I can jump back in and remember what's happening. Anyway, the show's really funny. It's about, as the title says, it's about the last man on Earth. Well, he thinks he's the only person alive on Earth. Spoilers there. Someone else comes into it quite soon. But what's his name? I can't remember. What's the fucking actor's name? Do you remember the actor?
Will Forte.
Will Forte, yeah. So if you've seen Will Forte and stuff, he's quite funny. But yeah, it's quite a funny show. I thought it could only last a season at first because just given the whole setup, but second season was great. I assume 3 and 4 are just as good. I know everyone liked it through to the end. So yeah, if I had the time, I'd like to get back to that. We'll see what happens. But either way, that's a show that maybe a lot of people in Australia didn't see because, as we're saying, it was airing at a stupid fucking time. So it's quite funny. And it's only 4 seasons. So
yeah, definitely something I'll be hoping to catch up on. My number 3, Futurama. The best thing Matt Groening created, hands down. An amazing series. Every episode is great. Beautifully animated. I don't know exactly how they're formatted. Like, obviously the movies, I think they probably just split them up. Like they were airing on TV and that kind of thing, which will make for interesting viewing. But yeah, if you haven't watched Futurama, like for some reason you were too young.
Where the fuck are you?
You were just too young when it came out. Like, now is the best time to pick up Futurama, and then maybe they'll make more of it. You know, these animated shows, they get like continued on after long hiatuses all the time. So
party on, contest winners, party on.
Yeah, and there's so many like emotional moments as well. It's not all just laughs, you know.
The fucking dog, the end of don't even.
Yeah, gotta love Zoidberg as well. Ciaran, what's your number 2?
Number 2. I'm going off the wall, you know. You guys are picking probably like great stuff that's really like. I'm going back to my childhood to another movie I totally haven't seen in years. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. It was teenagers with attitude in the movie. It had a bad guy called Ivan fucking Ooze. That his master plan to take over the world was to give people fucking soda cans, soda pops, you know? And they brainwashed them. And then the Power Rangers, they weren't strong enough, so they have to go get ninja powers from an island that's somewhere. And you know what? It's good fun. It's great. It's the best Power Rangers movie they've ever released.
I mean, there's like a part of me that is oddly curious to go back and watch it.
You should. Obviously, it's like the original. It's like the original Mighty Morphin cast. Like it's really good. Like
yeah. Funny story. I remember my grandfather took me to go see the movie while I was visiting him in Melbourne, and for there wasn't much people in the theater, so he went, "There's nobody here. This movie mustn't be very good." And yeah, maybe I don't know. You can't. I was a kid at the time, so obviously. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Raising Arizona, which was the Coen brothers' second film. It's still probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie of all time. He is absolutely amazing in it. It's a comedy drama where Nicolas Cage is being his utmost Nicolas Cage. So he's the boyfriend, and the girlfriend in this relationship is played by Holly Hunter. They're two criminals, or they're trying to be not criminals anymore. And Holly Hunter's character decides that she wants a baby. However, they can't have a baby. So Nicolas Cage's character goes over to another house, climbs in the window, and steals a baby. And they're like, we're just gonna steal this baby, and it sounds fucking dark, but it's the way it's played with the comedy and like the the over the topness of a lot of the characters and storylines. John Goodman's in it, and he's just having the best fucking time of his life. Of course, Frances McDormand's in it, and she's also really great in this, playing more of a comedic role. These sorts of things, and honestly, Raising Arizona, and I haven't watched it for years, so I think this would actually be the first thing I would watch, because I haven't watched it for years because it kind of disappeared off streaming services or wherever I watched it last time. So this is actually the thing I'm most excited to watch again, because it is one of the funniest movies I think I've ever watched. If I was like making my list of favorite comedies of all time, I would be putting Raising Arizona on there. I think it's an absolute plus, especially if you've watched a lot of other Coen Brother movies, specifically their more comedy oriented type of stuff, and you find their type of comedy funny and things like Oh Brother We're Out There or whatever, things that have elements of comedy. This is like full on comedy for the most part. So I would highly suggest watching Raising Arizona. It's fucking fantastic.
Cool. My number 2 is the TV series The Orville, created by Seth MacFarlane, starring Seth MacFarlane. It's very much a sci-fi show in the vein of Star Trek and The Next Generation and those kind of films. TV series, which follows the starship crew of the starship USS Orville. Seth MacFarlane plays the captain of the ship, and then his ex-wife gets transferred to become the first officer of the ship. It's, there's some tension there. It's not as comedic as you would think, coming from the mind of Seth MacFarlane. I feel like it's more like the Star Trek, a fun homage to Star Trek, more than anything. But yeah, 2 seasons so far. Really enjoy it. Still waiting on that 3rd season. Apparently, it's going to be coming to Star going forward, because it is a Fox show. So over in America, and the 3rd season's going to Hulu. So whenever that eventually comes out, that will also be on Star. So yeah, Orville, check that one out. I think it's a bit of a underrated show. I think it also gets better as it goes along. So yeah, Ciaran, what's your number 1?
Look, I'm gonna round this up with an actual serious one for myself. My late childhood and early teens were very much spent watching 2 shows. One of them that we've recently discussed on our One Division watchback of Malcolm in the Middle. I spent a lot of time watching Malcolm in the Middle growing up. The other show was My Name is Earl. Seasons 1 to 4 are all going to be on. Oh God, I'm being laughed at now.
No, I'm just laughing how you're like, man, my childhood, and I'm thinking like, we're like 15 when My Name was Earl.
Well, it's probably I couldn't put the date down, so I was like, I think it's like early teens, but I don't want to say it's that late.
Yeah.
But anyway, My Name is Earl. A show about a guy that either almost dies, but then almost wins the lottery, but the lottery ticket gets blown away, and he thinks it's down to karma as he learns about karma that he's not the smartest guy. So he writes down a list of all of the bad things he's done in his life, and he has done quite a bit. And so throughout the 4 seasons, it's all about, generally he is tackling one thing off his list, ranging from how he's interacting with his family or things he's done to people in the world. And it is a great comedy. It's really fun, but at the same time has those underlying tones of kind of more serious meanings and messages that I really enjoyed, and it is a hilarious show in itself.
Cool. Dylan, what's your number 1?
Just want to say, it's funny to think that Jason Lee was at some stage like every family knew his name for a couple of years there, when that show was like the
when that show was
biggest show on TV. Yeah. Or a big show on TV.
Yeah.
He did Alvin and the Chipmunks because of it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yep.
You can't. Where is he now? So, my number 1 pick is something I haven't watched, but it's something I've been wanting to watch since it came out, and I haven't had a chance, and that is Love, Victor. So this is the spin-off / sequel to Love, Simon, which was one of my top 10 movies of, when did that come out? 2018 says. 2018, so a couple of years ago. And Love, Victor is I think it's at the same school with a new character. The guy who played Simon, I think's in it, or to a degree, maybe slightly shows up in one episode or something. So it's not like a reboot, it's like a sequel type thing. Anyway, if you liked Love, Simon, which I did, and that's a coming of age college. I think it's set in the college or whatever. You know, like they're like 16, 17 or whatever the kids are. Like they're not young, but you know, the original movie was about this kid dealing with his sexual awakening or sexual orientation awakening or whatever you want to call it, I guess. And I'm pretty sure the show is a new character going through similar things, but in a TV format. I remember it came out in Hulu like mid last year or something like that. And all the reviews I saw at the time, everyone was like, if you like the movie, this is more the same sort of stuff with the same tone and themes and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all about it. So yeah, this is the first original show that I can finally watch as part of Star that I will be watching because I have been wanting to watch this. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Cool. My number one is the sitcom Fresh Off the Boat that follows I guess, Taiwanese family who moved to Florida to start a new life. Starring Constance Wu, the breakout star of Crazy Rich Asians and Hustlers, but also starring Randall Park, the breakout star of WandaVision. And yeah, if you want to see 6 seasons of television starring those two people, this is the show to watch. I think the kids in the show are really great as well. Obviously, they're much older now. It's crazy. It is crazy to see the transformation because the lead kid gets like super tall. I've really enjoyed it. I managed to sneak a couple of episodes in before we started recording.
Fucking hell.
You know, just a couple of my favorite episodes from the series. So, a show that was was difficult to see here in Australia, finally available to more people, and you know, maybe it gets a boost with all this Randall Park love. You know, I saw them promote it. It's on the front page.
Really?
You know?
They're
Yeah.
smart if they're doing that. Like that's some good shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in an age where, you know, everything, you know, all these shows that even have I've never brought it up, but the show Peaky Blinders, apparently like 4 or 5 seasons in, Anna Taylor-Joy has it's like in it for a season, and so Netflix stuck her on the cover of Peaky Blinders, like,
oh, did they?
to try and draw you in, yeah. So, but yeah. Fresh Off the Boat, a lot of fun, really good sitcom with a really diverse, obviously, an Asian-led cast, so obviously that rings true to me, certain elements of that relationship and that kind of thing. But yeah, really enjoyable sitcom. You know, I love those kind of things. Was there any other honorable mentions that you're desperately trying to fit or desperately want to shout out?
I don't want to get laughed at no more, so I'm good, thanks.
Come on.
Hit us with one more.
I can't remember what else I'd written down.
Hit me with
Really?
one
I'm pretty
more.
sure you had you weren't sure in how many numbers the thing
I
was
did
meant
5.
to be.
I can't remember what the 2 things I deleted were. I think one of them was How I Met Your Mother, because it's How I Met Your Mother, and I did waste a lot of time watching that growing up.
Waste is a strong word.
But I enjoyed it.
There's
It's
a
very
lot
good.
of life lessons in there.
There is indeed, you know. But no, I'm good. I'll just bring up How I Met Your Mother as an honorable mention, you know.
Dylan?
No, I can't remember. I didn't write down any honorable mentions, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. And in case you missed the memo about all this, just a quick recap is that Star is for you. You've got it. If you're paying for Disney Plus, you've now got it, and they've increased the price. You had no choice about it, so yes, you can watch all of this stuff we're talking about.
But if you've paid in like a year in advance,
Yes.
like I did, it's like fuck yeah, you're not paying for
so
it.
yeah,
Like, you're
I
paying
did
for
the
it
same.
next
Where
year.
it's if you'd already paid your yearly fee prior to the price hike today, then you got a way of paying the cheaper price, but you'll have to pay the increased price next year. So,
Yeah,
but either
next
way,
year.
I think I saw a lot of people get sort of confused about like what Star is. Like, is it a new thing I have to pay for? No, they've just increased the price a couple dollars. You have Star. It's Star is basically the adult quote unquote channel category or whatever within Disney Plus, and the other categories are Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar. You know, like yeah.
But also, small good sign is I just remember what the other thing I deleted was Logan, which is a fantastic film by itself,
Yep.
and it's a positive sign that something like that is being shown
Yeah.
on Disney
That's-
Plus.
And like all the Deadpool movies are on there now. Like if you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, where can I watch Deadpool? It's like Deadpool's on there now, so all the adult stuff is coming in.
Yeah, so I mentioned 3 TV shows that you should check out. So 3 movies just quickly. Ruby Sparks, written by Zoe Kazan, starring Zoe Kazan and Paul Dano. That's really good. Mia Earl and the Dying Girl, starring Thomas Mann, Olivia Cook, and R.G. Sala. That's really good. And then Thank You for Smoking, Jason Reitman's first film, is on the service as well, starring Aaron Eckhart. That's a fantastic movie.
That is
You should
fantastic.
watch
I actually
those.
think that movie's highly underrated.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? If you want to let us know about anything you heard here on the podcast, what your thoughts are on anything, what are your top 3 things that people should watch from Star on Disney Plus? Let us know on Twitter by going to explosionnet.com/Twitter. You can let us know on our Discord by heading over to explosionnet.com/Discord. Be sure to leave us a review either on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or let people know about the show anywhere and everywhere. Tell them about it. If you like this episode and thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnet.com/support and buy us a coffee. Every little bit helps to keep the code online. Is that a thing?
The code
lights
online?
The lights on.
Just to keep the website servers live, yeah?
Yes, that's keep the servers live. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
By the way, we're being watched. I just had a Star ad pop up on my social media that I just quickly scrolled through. Yeah.